everything. Also, I definitely want to reach out and thank our state, city, and county highway departments for everything they've done to make the roads clear for those of us to have to drive in. Call the House Standing Committee on Small Business and Information Technology to order. We'll have the secretary call the roll. The quorum is 11. And upon your counting, please let us know if you're in your annex or off campus. Thank you very much. Please proceed, ma'am.
Representative Baker.
In person.
Representative Beckler. Representative Bojanowski.
Yes, I'm here in person.
Representative Brascom. Representative Brown. Representative Callaway.
Present in person.
Representative Dotson.
Here.
Representative Pfister.
Present in person.
Representative Gooch.
Present in my seat as per the chairman's instructions.
Representative Heath.
Present in person.
Representative Koenig. Representative Lawrence.
Present in person.
Representative Miller. Representative Raymond.
I'm here from home.
Representative Roberts.
Present.
I'm sorry, Roberts. Representative Roberts. Representative Rowland.
Present in the room.
Representative Sheldon.
Present in person.
Threw me off. I wasn't used to you being
Representative Tate.
the other R.
Representative White. Representative Freeland.
Present in person.
And Chairman Pratt.
Here in person. Thank you very much. All right, our first presenter and our only presenter is, well, if you'll approach the podium or bench, good Lord. Anyway, if you'll address yourself and tell us who you are, and let's proceed with the bill, please.
Thank you. I'm Representative Lynn Beckler. I represent the 4th Congressional, yeah, right. The 4th Legislative. Can I give myself a raise or something like that, you know? So, 4th Legislative District.
Please proceed, sir, with your bill.
All right. There is a committee sub that I believe everyone has.
Can we adopt the committee sub? Here, motion to adopt. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Committee sub's adopted. Proceed, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Pratt and Vice Chair Freeland and members of the committee for allowing me to present House Bill 360. I'll be brief since the bill is short and self-explanatory. We all know of the negative economic impact caused by the pandemic that forced business shutdowns and lockouts. House Bill 360 is a bill to slightly, and I emphasize slightly, assist businesses that were affected in some manner by government action over and above the mere loss of revenue. We all know how a bill becomes law. Something becomes law when a bill is passed by us, the General Assembly, and then signed by the governor, or the governor lets a bill become a law without his or her signature, or a gubernatorial veto is overridden by the legislature in manners we've done in several cases since I've been here. Mandates by a governor, judge executive, mayor, or a regulatory body without being approved by the General Assembly are not laws. With that in mind, House Bill 360, should it become law, would require repayment of any fines the business received as a result of not following a COVID-19 mandate and reinstate any licenses that were revoked by a COVID-19 mandate.
Motion on the bill is amended. Second.
Is there a second? We have a second? Second? Right. And Roberts. Who second was? Oh.
Who made the motion?
Who made the motion?
Dotson. Second.
Okay.
Pfister.
Okay.
Dotson. Fitz.
Okay.
Bojanowski has a question.
Well, actually, we have some questions on your bill, sir. So.
I'm shocked.
All right. Representative Bojanowski. Roberts.
Yes, thank you. I have never had my blood boil more than when I was reading this bill. Let me assure you, this is not a bill in support of businesses that struggled during the pandemic, and that's what we actually should be doing. This is a bill to let businesses that broke the law because they didn't agree with it off the hook. We have 3 branches of government in Kentucky: the legislative branch, which writes the law, the executive branch, which enforces the laws and has the right to enforce executive orders under Statute 39A, and the judicial branch, which interprets the law. The judicial branch, with a unanimous Supreme Court decision, ruled that the governor's orders were legal. This bill reads like a request for an appeal to the Supreme Court decision. Representative Beckler, is it your intent that with this legislation that you would be judge and jury and overrule the decision of a unanimous Kentucky Supreme Court in favor of the defendants?
No.
I have no further questions.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is on the fiscal impact here. The fiscal impact states that the impact on the government is expected to be minimal, if any. So my question to you is, why is this needed if the impact is minimal, and if any? And can you provide us some data on how many of these fines have been levied and what that impact truly would be?
I can't tell you in total how many fines have been levied. I know of a half a dozen or more that have been levied. And, hopefully the legislative mandate to fiscal impact would be slight. If that's the case, there should be no problem with the bill.
Yes, ma'am. You must follow up.
So a half a dozen businesses. Now, are those businesses, those are businesses that went against the orders? And to my colleague's point, we're trying to reward businesses that didn't follow the rules in this moment when other businesses, like my own, frankly, followed the rules?
Not trying to, what was your question about if
I'll leave it as a statement. How about that?
Sure.
I feel that this bill rewards bad actors and punishes those of us who have done our level best to keep our clients, our customers, and the public safe. So I'll be voting no on this bill.
Thank you, ma'am. Representative Raymond, with her cute daughter in the picture. Leave her in there.
There's other kids running around too. So I have a question, please. This bill shows so much hubris, I think, when we're acting like we know more than people who literally know more because they've received more information from professionals. My question is, how could a citizen or a business owner decide when the rule of law does not apply to them outside of COVID?
this just addresses nothing more than COVID mandates by either the governor, mayor, judge executive, or other regulatory body. It has nothing to do with any other fine, loss of license, etc.
All right. Are you done, Mr. Representative Raymond?
I'll push a little harder if I may. So in the next crisis, because we'll have another one, how should individuals go about thinking through rules or restrictions or laws placed on them that they disagree with? Can they choose not to obey them whenever they choose?
No, this has everything to do with an economic impact. So businesses have lost a ton of money. Representative Roberts' business, I'm sure, has lost money due to the mandates. And all this does is try and reinstate any fines. We regularly in this state and across the country, eliminate fines, reinstate licenses. This is not a bill that affects anything other than the COVID-19 pandemic.
Do you have a follow-up question, ma'am?
No, thank you.
All right. Representative Dotson.
Well, I personally own 7 businesses, and I complied. And 5 of those businesses being restaurants, and restaurants being what they are, working on small margins as it is, it's been very difficult. And, If it had not been for some of the PPP money that we got, we would have definitely not survived. But you really can't fault businesses and business owners who have put their life savings on the line to try to make a living for them and their families. So at the end of the day, we all want to comply. We've all been hit with this pandemic, and it's affected people in many different ways. And what it's done for or impacted one family may be different from another. So I support this bill, and I was proud to co-sponsor it because the undue pressure that's already on small business owners need to be alleviated as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative White.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Actually, the bills that the governor vetoed that we passed and now is tied up in court, a lot of those would probably address some of these situations, wouldn't it?
It could.
Yeah. So I support it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no more questions, we'll proceed to vote. Will you please take the roll?
Representative Baker,
Yes.
Representative Beckler,
Aye.
Representative Bojanowski,
No, and may I explain my vote?
Yes, ma'am.
I absolutely cannot fathom how we would reward businesses for not following guidelines, rules, and regulations and potentially impacting the health and safety of the members of our Commonwealth.
Representative Branscombe, Representative Brown, Representative Callaway.
Yes, and may I explain my vote?
Yes, sir.
We do have 3 branches of government, and when you think about a branch, the branch should actually, each branch should be bearing fruit based on the trunk that the branches are growing from, which would be the people. And unfortunately, we've come to a place to where we have divisions of government instead of branches of government. And I believe this actually brings us back to a place to where the people are having a voice and what's being done to them and not just for them. So my vote is a yes, and I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of this bill.
Representative Dotson,
A resounding yes.
Representative Pfister,
Yes.
Representative Freeland,
Yes.
Representative Gooch,
May I explain my vote, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm a yes vote on this, and I think that we've heard some today that somehow we're rewarding bad actors, people who maybe don't follow the guidelines, who don't follow a law that may actually not be constitutional or whatever. But sometimes maybe the bad actors are not the business owners that are struggling out there. It may be the people that are sitting in the offices, whether it be the mayor or the first floor of the Capitol building or whatever. Those folks that overstep their authority, in my opinion, are the bad actors here. And it really is amazing to me, the hypocrisy sometimes of someone saying, well, you're putting people at risk because you're not following the law and you shouldn't be allowed to do that. But they're the same people that applaud when a city becomes a sanctuary city or a state becomes a sanctuary state and says, we're not going to follow federal immigration law. Does that not put people's lives at risk as well? And so, I think that it's almost like anything else. You can break whichever law you don't agree with, but that's just not the way that it's supposed to work. We're a government of laws rather than a men, and it's time that we follow the law. But it's time that we have people that are in office that really have a real concern about what our rights are, and we have not seen that in this pandemic. So I vote yes. Thank you.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Koenig, Representative Lawrence,
I'm a yes, but I'd like to explain my vote if I can.
Yes, sir.
I would agree that there are, sometimes it does feel like we're rewarding some people, but, and I see the point that you guys have made. I really do, honestly do. I've talked to so many business owners in my community that the mandates that were coming down were an ever-changing, moving target. And so some of them were in trouble because the capacity for their business would go from 75 to 50 to 20. And it may change that evening at 4 o'clock when, he come on the TV. And so I see the point that you've made, but I support the bill.
Representative Miller, Representative Roberts,
No.
Representative Rowland, Representative Sheldon,
Yes, someone would like to explain my vote, please.
Please do, sir.
Representative Beckler, I feel like what we're trying to say here, and we've talked about this. We're not rewarding anybody. What we're looking at is, it amazes me that a lot of the bills that we've passed and things that we've discussed, people say, well, you're trying to kick the citizens while they're down. It's during a pandemic. You can't do that. Well, we're kicking the business owners while they're down, and that's equally as reprehensible. So, to me, I believe that a visit from the health department, a visit, by the authorities, those are things that you can do when businesses are not complying. Jerking licenses in a very fluent time that's ever changing, as my colleague said down front here. That didn't make a lot of sense to me, to be that drastic in finding and pulling licenses during a time when nobody can predict what's going to happen. So I'm a firm yes, and this is not about rewarding bad actors at all. Thank you.
Representative Tate, Representative White,
Yes.
and Chairman Pratt.
Yes, I'm going to explain my vote. Now, I think the reason you were seeing this bill today is because of the fact that the businesses that were affected were never allowed to have a seat at the table by anyone in executive branches. They made these without consulting the business they were affecting, and we saw very inconsistent rules of you could go to Walmart, you go to Kroger's and shop and buy you a cup of coffee, but then you couldn't go to a coffee shop. So it's very inconsistent. And guys, when we have spent $80 million on contract tracers, and we've reached out to executive branch, say, give us the numbers to support what you're doing, and they either can't or won't share those numbers with us, that's why we see this bill in front of us. I'm a yes, and thank you for bringing this bill today, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my count too.
Okay.
You need to announce that. You need to announce that.
The bill as amended passes with favorable expression.
Okay. There are 13 yeses, 2 noes. This bill, House Bill 330, is amended, passes with favorable expression. Expects to do so on the floor. Thank you very much. If nothing else, we're adjourned to our next meeting. Thank you guys very much for coming on such a snowy, slick day. Adjourned.
I know we come at you
No, you're
sometimes.
fine. No. Y'all keep me out of trouble. Trust me. No, you're fine. No, you're fine, ma'am.
And?
Sorry.
Okay, so you know what you're saying.
Somebody already did that.
Sort of like signing a contract.
No problem.
You know what you're saying.
And I'll try to get your draft.
And I understand. Actually, I just want to make sure we definitely